combat rescue, tactical insertions, close quarter battle tactics. All in a week's work for M Company from 42 Commando Royal Marines. They're training in a simulated urban environment on Salisbury Plain. The threat of civil unrest, locating persons of interest and an enemy force that could strike at any time. Working in a densely populated area comes with a wide variety of challenges.
There's lots of different moving parts that you have to juggle at the same time, particularly in an urban area, just in terms of the tactical scenario as well. There's many more places for the enemy to hide, there's many more threats that you need to cover. You're thinking about bombs under cars. The exercise troops have to focus on what we call their 5s and 20s, so their 5 metre spacings, they're 20 metre out in front of them, and so they can quickly scan and identify any threats that could impact them on their patrol in or outside the building.
Depending on the mission and how quickly troops need to move into metropolitan areas can dictate how they reach their target. It could be by foot, Merlin helicopter, or fast roping onto buildings from a Wildcat helicopter.
We're grabbing onto the rope and going down. For the pilots, they're the ones controlling where you're going, where the ropes land, so that is the real consideration for them. Obviously for us it means that we have to be much more acutely aware in terms of what happens, and lads are trained to stop halfway down if the rope was to go off and do what we call a make fast and make sure they can at least be attached to the helo, not fall to the ground, even if the rope has gone off the building.
Another focus of this training is casualty evacuation. It could be civilian or military personnel. And depending on the location of the rescue, in a built-up town or city, there's a lot to contend with, which is why M Company are tested in many different ways. Maritime snipers provide overwatch as commandos secure and safeguard a building to recover a casualty.
The lifting strap should hopefully keep his arm in place.
Next up, a helicopter crash that leaves pilots and civilians in need of rescue in a residential area where there's a prolific enemy force. Aiding the wounded and injured in a hostile environment requires planning and strategy.
Prior to deployment, you do go through a lot of med training and a lot of lectures that prepare you for not necessarily the physical side of things, but give you that mindset that ensure you know what you're going into and how to deal with situations in a sort of methodical manner to ensure that things the safety element is increased and the risk is reduced. We work in environments that aren't just going to be us against the enemy. We'll be going through and facing people who are curious, facing people that are scared and frightened and want help. They might be injured. So being able to sort of turn your hand to anything just means that we can adapt and look after civilian populations, but also be prepared to deal with any threats that might be in the environment.
This training also includes Royal Marine intelligence gathering processes, operating with the civilian population or government agencies to create a better understanding of the battle space or situation from gathering information on missions. That could just mean talking to people in the local population, but it also could involve locating particular items that hold details to help fight the enemy. Here they're looking for valuable information in a building at night, which involves room clearances and searches.
Situations have become more and more complex along with the introduction of the internet and social media, and the civilian populations that we work with are more complex. And so searching buildings, searching cars, interacting with the civilian population is more and more crucial just to gain that intelligence. We also work with other government organisations and departments to sort of congregate that information so that we can work to use it to our advantage. As Royal Marines, we rely a lot on the emotional intelligence of our soldiers, of our Marines, to work with the civilian populations. I think that's one of our strongest assets that we have.
The ability to read a situation and take decisive action can never be underestimated for Royal Marines facing a plethora of operations. Whether it's a rescue mission, a non-combatant evacuation operation, overcoming adversaries or intelligence gathering. The training may have been on Salisbury Plain, but the skills M Company have enhanced here can be used across the globe. Bryony Williams, Forces News. Thanks for watching. For more from Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.